Hi, Chris McClure here with Fire Apparatus and Emergency Equipment. I am here today at Station 10 in Indianapolis, Indiana. We're with Ladder 10, and I'm with Captain Rick Van Sant here, who's going to help tell us a little bit about this rig. It's one of their newest rigs that they've gotten into the city, delivered relatively recently. So Cap, tell me about the rig itself. Just tell me your manufacturer, talk about when you got it, and talk about some of the features.
Okay, so it's a 100-foot Pierce platform aerial. We got it delivered we put it in service on October 4th of 2023. Build date on it was July of 2023.
Okay.
Rear mount, and which is what we had. We replaced the rear mount 100-foot as well.
Okay. Now, as you can see, we're underneath the platform in the front here, and there are a lot of different reasons to go with a rear mount versus a mid mount. There are a lot of different trade-offs that come with that. One of those trade-offs is you do have generally with the with the rear mount, you do have the overhang in the front. We're in Indiana. It's relatively flat. I've been around a little bit. I don't see a ton of bridges or anything that you need to worry about that much with the height. But there is certainly, there are driver considerations with the overhang in the front. Could you talk, just to give a few little tips that drivers should be thinking about if they end up operating a rear mount platform with the overhang?
Yeah, so it is a lot of planning for the engineer. They have to consider how much sticks out in front of them when they make their turns. We also have 9 feet of truck sticking out behind the rear wheels. So they not only have to worry about the front when they swing, but the back end will swing around as well. So it is kind of an art for them to get to where they know how to make these turns. We've got a lot of streets that are tight, not as bad as some of the areas in the city. So we weren't limited on the size of the truck we could have. We don't have any low underpasses in our first or second or even really third due areas where we would have to worry about that. So the biggest reason that we went with a rear mount in this area is because this is a light extrication company. Okay. So we carry a lot of extra equipment. When you go with a mid mount, you lose a ton of compartment space, and we need every inch we can get.
Talk a little bit. You just mentioned the rescue load you have. Also, when I got here today, you could tell there was a recent job. You could smell it in the air a little bit. You said the fire load is pretty high here as well. You guys see a fair amount of work. Talk about some of the rescues, or talk about some of the duty that both Engine 10 and Ladder 10 see.
So this is one of the busiest fire companies in the city. We have a rescue squad that is one of the busiest apparatus in the city, and then the engine and truck also will run EMS, but we're second and third behind the squad. So the fire duty, compared to other companies in the city, we're one of the busiest for work time. Mostly residential, but we do have a lot of commercial when we get up around the north side of our district and south end as well. And we do have one high rise, a 10-story in the district. So we stay busy with that, and then extrication as well, and keeps us pretty good around here.
Now, we also got the front bumper here. Different departments, different fire companies within departments do different things. Ladder 10 decided to go with some hooks here. Just talk about the front bumper, what it's carrying, and why.
So we have a policy that our SOPs say that the first due truck and second due truck, the inside team will grab their irons and 6-foot hooks as well when they come off. So we like to keep our stuff handy where we can just come around and grab it and go to work. So most of the trucks you'll see in the city will have 6-foot hooks and maybe some other things mounted on the front bumper.
Okay. Well, let's take a look around the rest of the truck. We're going to talk to you a little bit about some of the rescue stuff. We did also, I forgot to mention, when we talked earlier, there is a monitor. There's a single monitor on the platform that you have gotten as much as 1,700 gallons of water out of. We're going to walk around the truck. We're going to talk a little bit about how you achieved that, flow. But first, let's go around and take a look at some of the rescue equipment.
Okay.
All right, Cap. Well, you mentioned out front that this is a ladder company, but it is also designated as a light rescue. We're going to get into that on the other side when we look at some of the other rescue equipment you have. But you said you do a fair amount of rescue work. Talk real quick just about the extrication setup you got. I mean, you've got, you got the spreaders here. You're running gas-powered power units. So just talk a little bit about the complement of rescue tools you got.
Okay, so we carry Homatro cutters and spreaders, and obviously power unit. That's about it for the actual tools that we carry for hydraulic tools. We do carry crutches, Rescue 42 crutches on the other side, a complement of reciprocal saws, grinders, all that, hand tools, everything for extrication. We do a lot of extrication in this area. We're a light extrication team, and in Indianapolis, when you have someone trapped in a car, you're going to get a light rescue team and a heavy rescue team.
So as if the rescue work and the fire duty wasn't enough for Ladder 10, they do also function as an EMS company, and will do some EMS work. So Cap, talk to me a little bit about when we were talking, they're third on the list out of this station, but they do carry the equipment to do it.
So Indianapolis is big on EMS. We do a lot of it, and even the battalion buggies carry EMS equipment. But in this house, we've got 4 apparatus, and we're third in line for an EMS run. So our 2-man rescue squad would go first, then our engine companies, and then our ladder companies. And that's basically to keep the ladders in service, because there's a lot less of them than there are of engine companies. As far as our complement of equipment, it's all standard. We do have ALS equipment as well. No medics on this apparatus on any of the 3 shifts, but we have that capability if we needed, if we did have a medic on there.
Okay, now in the city of Indianapolis, all ladder companies are rig companies. So to my right here, we've got Ladder 10's rib pack, and to my left here, we have the saw compartment. Now, in Indianapolis, all of the ladder companies carry the same saw complement, but as Captain Van Sant just explained to me, they did a little something different with these 2 saws. So Cap, could you go through that with me?
Sure.
Real quick?
So, like you said, every truck is going to have 2 chainsaws and 2 rotary saws. When we get them from the factory, they're set up with the blade right down the center of the saw. We changed our metal cutting blade because we do a lot of burglar bars and gates and such around here because of the area we're in. So we found that running the blade outboard on our metal cutting saw, we can get up against the brick mold when we're cutting burglar bars. We can lay it flat on the ground if we're cutting gates or fence posts, that type of thing. So it just makes it better for us on our metal cutting saw to run it outboard. And basically it's just, you see the difference with it. One's the metal cutting is on the outside. We can lay it flat on the ground and cut as much as we need to, where with this one, we would have to tilt the saw way up, and we would lose a ton of cutting area by doing that. So it's just something we did. We're probably the only truck in the city like that, but we're probably the only truck in the city that cuts that many burglar bars and roll down gates and such. So.
Okay. Well, let's walk around to the back, and we'll start talking. Even again, we're a truck company here, but we're going to talk a little bit about the water supply setup. So I mentioned we're going to start talking about the water supply functions here, but I did, before we get to that, want to discuss real quick just the ladder complement. Could you go over the ladder complement and whether or not this is the same throughout the city?
So it's not the same throughout the city because we do have different size trucks and such, and they can only do so much with each truck as they buy them. But as far as this truck, we've got 159 feet of ladder, which is well above NFPA specs, but I would have liked to have had a little more, but the truck was designed prior to me seeing it, so I didn't get everything I wanted, but we've got plenty of ground ladder footage, and we throw a lot of ground ladders in this company, so it's in our name, ladder company, so we throw a lot of ladders.
Keep throwing them until you're told to stop.
That's exactly right. Yeah, the only ladder thrown wrong is the one that didn't get thrown. That's what I always say. So I also wanted to talk a little bit about the water supply setup. We mentioned how the monitor on the platform, Cap mentioned that they were able to get 1,700 gallons per minute out of that. We're going to get into a little bit about the appliances as well, but this is the rear intake for that. Now, we're going to show you the setups, the appliances in a minute, but talk about how you guys set this up to worry about, like the weight of the water and all that. So, a lot of companies will take a 5-inch and go right into the truck. It works certainly, but it limits you on how much water you can get. So we have an appliance on the other side there that can take 4 3-inches and a 5-inch. We have a 25-foot feeder section that we will hook into here, roll it out, and then we put our appliance on the ground, and that way, it does a couple things. We can take the weight off of this, because if we put the appliance right on here, you've got a ton of weight right there. It's not good for the couplings, and also it gives us plenty of room to work out there. And we can take, like I say, 4 3-inches and a 5-inch in the appliance that we carry.
Okay. Okay, so we just talked about the SOP here for getting water into the truck and out to the up to the platform for that 1,700 gallons a minute. Now, you gave me some very specific parameters that allowed you to get that 1,700 gallons per minute, and both of these were involved. This is the 25-foot feeder length, and this is the appliance that it connects to that we just talked about at the back. But talk about how this item helped you get that 1,700 gallons a minute.
So this is actually the appliance off our old truck. I wanted to keep it because the one that came with the new truck just had 2 3-inch inlets, which is fine most of the time, but I want more options if I can. So we kept the old appliance. We can take 4 3-inches and a 5-inch. And when we got the truck, we went out multiple days trying to get as much water as we could. We started out with just 1 3-inch into it, then we would do 2 3-inches and 3, and we just kept adding water. We got to 1,710 gallons, if I remember right, per minute with a 2.5-inch tip on it before we started running away from our water. Okay. So likely if we had a better plug, we might have been able to get a little more than that, but that's the most we've been able to get, what I think was 1,710. So quite a bit of water.
Cap, if you could, talk about some of the organizational aspects of the truck. There's a lot of custom mounting done here, and it was, as if I understood you correctly, was done after the truck landed by members of Ladder 10.
So when you get a new vehicle, a new apparatus, it's typically cookie cutter shelves, cookie cutter tool brackets, all that stuff, which may or may not work where you are. So most of that stuff they have doesn't work for me. I'm kind of a neat freak, and I'm kind of known for that. So organization is my thing. It's kind of a joke around here, actually. But I'm very fortunate that I've got a guy who is a metal artist on my truck, Ryan Feeney. He's made statues and et cetera around the country. The Peyton Manning statue down at Lucas Oil is Ryan's work. He's famous around here and around the country, actually. So he's made a lot of the brackets and shelves and all that stuff for the apparatus. So this is part of his work. That's part of his work. We've got all the axes, sledgehammers, everything in order. You go around this truck anywhere, and if you see something custom, it's because of Ryan Feeney. So like I say, I am very fortunate in that arena that we've got him here.
Well, let's move down to the rescue compartment again, where you get to see more of that custom work. I believe this was it. This hanging one here, all of that was Ryan's work. Just wanted to talk real quick about your light rescue designation. That's with the city, that comes with a particular complement of equipment that you need to carry when you get that designation. But also there are some procedures in place, or guidelines, procedures, no, these are definitely procedures, in place for the light rescue company. I think you said, you mentioned if the vehicle's on its wheels, you can get to work. If it's on its side, you have the equipment to get it all stabilized, but the heavy rescue comes in to do the work. So just explain that a little bit, because I'm sure I did not explain it perfectly.
So in Indianapolis, we have light and we have 4 heavy rescues. The heavies, they aren't higher trained than the lights, they just have more equipment. So we're limited by our equipment on what we can do. We carry the basic stuff, cutters, spreaders, power unit hoses, all that stuff, sawzalls, but we don't carry lift bags, high pressure or low pressure. We don't carry Paratech equipment, anything like that. So we are kind of limited, and that's when the heavies come in if there's something that we can't do. So our SOP says that if the car is on all fours, it's all ours. The lights can do anything on that. If it's on its side or upside down, then we can do the stabilization. So we carry obviously cribbing and step chocks, and we carry struts. We can get the car stabilized by then. Hopefully the heavy is on scene, and then they can start the work, and we just kind of assist them at that point.
All right, Cap, well, thank you very much for taking me around the truck today. As luck would have it, the IFD took the truck out of service for us while we were doing this, but I don't want to keep it out of service too long, because if they do catch a job while I'm in the middle of this, I'm going to have some very angry IFD firefighters with me. So So thank you again for taking us through. If you have any questions at all for Captain Van Zandt, you can reach me at chris.mcluhan@clarionevents.com, and I'll get them over to him, and we'll get your questions answered. So once again, this has been Chris McClune with Fire Apparatus and Emergency Equipment. Have a good one, and stay safe. Thanks again, Captain.
Thanks, Chris.